Tom Ross, radio personality, phone-in host.
That's a good start.
Birmingham City supporter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the voice of Midlands football.
Well, only because I've been doing it for such a long time. That comes with longevity, you see. 35 years. My 35 years is up March the 28th. In 1981 I went to Stoke, the Victoria Ground, Stoke against Blues, and it was 0-0. And I came back, I thought I'd done a great job. And Tony Butler said to me then, if that's the best you can do, sod off back to the BBC. That was it, exactly. No HR departments in them days, so that was my initial welcome into what was then PRMB. Yeah, 35 years. It's been a fantastic journey, I have to say, and especially when I get to cover Blues. I mean, because I started off as the pitch announcer. Yeah. Trevor Francis got me the job. I'd met Trevor through some commercial thing, and we got on great because of music. We're both music lovers, both Yellow fans, and etc. And I was talking to him about Springsteen, he was talking to me about other things, and we became very good, you know, got on well about it. And a week after, on the Sunday, my phone goes at home, and the voice goes, Trevor Francis here, and I go, piss off, get out of it. I thought it was my mates winding me up. Yeah. But it wasn't, it was Trevor Francis. He said, do you like to come over to my house and we'll sit and chat and bring some records, we'll swap them and play some tunes. And that's what I did. And I got on famously with him, and to be fair, within another week or so, a guy called Jeff Greaves, who sadly passed away this year, was the commercial director of Blues. He called me and said, listen, we want somebody to do the PA. You interested? I went, yeah, of course I am. I said, but I'm a Tilton Roader. You know, I'm a Tilton End. That's where I watch the games. So we had an arrangement where I would go and do all the stuff, play the music and play the tunes, and get to 5 to 3, read the teams, and I'd run round to the Tilton to stand with my mates and run back at half time and run. Because I love being on the Tilton with my pals, you see. Which is what happened, because I just stopped playing then for Balmy. I just at that second stopped, and I wanted to, you know, go back down the Blues, so I didn't want to leave my mates again. Yeah. But after it was terrible really. So in the end, I ended up sitting in the box. It was quite amusing because there was 3 speakers in the corner where the tunnel is now. So if you were sitting there, you were deafened, and if you were on the Tilton corner, you couldn't hear it. Funny enough, they always heard the scores I put out at the end, especially if the neighbours had lost. They heard that. Everybody heard that.
Aston Villa.
Yeah, Blues Villa have some great, you know, some not so nice memories, some great memories. But one thing I will say, you've got to be dead if you can't get excited with a derby.
This is a great rivalry.
Oh,
where does this rank in English football?
Well,
this is one of the best.
Remember, my dad was, before he came down to England, when he was here, he was chairman of the local branch of the Celtic Supporters Club, and used to take buses up. So I went to many Celtic Rangers derbies with my dad, stood in the jungle, and that's fierce. Yeah. But let me tell you, don't be fooled by any of these muppets in national TV who try to belittle it. This is as passionate a derby as any. Yep. Arsenal Spurs, Newcastle Sunderland, this is as passionate, and maybe in some cases maybe even more so. Yep. Because they haven't played each other since they were apart for so long. So don't anybody kid you, this is a fantastic derby. And you know, I remember in the 70s where Blues had a great run against Villa again. You know, going to Villa, all that Adidas yellow strip, John Connolly when he tore Villa to bits. It was
77 amazing. Did the double over Villa?
Yeah. I can't remember the year. There was one year when Noel Blake, so it would be 80s, when it was really ugly. Steve McMahon did Kevin Broadhurst. Kevin was stretchered off. Noel Blake sorted him out in the tunnel, dropped the nut on him. Gary Newbon had filmed it and sent the film to the FA. Thanks, says Noel. So that dropped Noel in it, but it went off in the Villa dressing room afterwards. According to Noel Blake, there were more Blues players in the Villa dressing room than Villa. So there have been some great derbies, but whether it's, you know, whatever it is, for us fans, the build-up, getting ready. 2 weeks before, you're arguing the toss with your mates. Oh, you can't wait. Afterwards, it's about what went wrong and arguing and debating and preening if you've won the bragging rights. And the 90 minutes is an emotional roller coaster ride like nobody's ever experienced. Yeah. I can't tell you. It's just the best feeling in the world, a derby game. An even greater feeling is winning a derby game. I hate drawing because it's like kissing your sister, isn't it? No. It's not like, probably slightly better than kissing your brother, I suppose, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, of course, last time we played them in the cup.
Wow.
At Blues.
Quarter-final.
Zigic.
Yeah. You know, he gets a lot of unfair criticism from me, Zigic, because he scored big goals for Blues. And if not for Zigic, by the way, they'd be in the lower tier.
That's true.
Let's
Bolton.
get that right.
Yeah.
Caddy scored, but
Yeah.
Zigic did all the work. His goals in the cups, his goals at big games meant a lot. Against Arsenal in the final, and the quarter-final against Aston Villa. But that was sweet for the Blues fans. Because listen, let's not kid ourselves. Villa are a massive club. They're a big club, a massive club. They've won the European Cup. They've never won the Leyland Daf. Well, that's their argument. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're a big club. So when you've lived in the shadows for a long time, and remember, I was at the League Cup victory in '63. I wagged off school to go to see that. When you've done that, and you've been in that shadow, and they've won cups in Europe, let me tell you, it's sweet when you get the chance. It is. And every Villa fan would understand that. Villa fan would understand that. You may remember the 5-1.
I do, unfortunately.
Well, where was I the day after, or 2 days after? King Standing Warriors Club doing a forum with Villa players. At a Villa pub, or a Villa club. And that's the last place on this planet I wanted to be after being beaten 5-1. But they presented me with a shirt, which had got Ross and 5-1 on it, which they thought was funny. But I was chuffed. I was chuffed because it's kept my car ever so clean. It's been fantastic. But you know, I have that. It's a little bit different in the business I'm in because I get on with Villa players and the managers. I've had a great relationship with the club, so it's a bit different because I'm one of those where I love the banter. I love the banter, and in this week I'm doing it for Talk Sport with Stan Collymore.
Brilliant.
So I'm going to give him some.
Oh, you got it.
Trust me, he's going to get plenty. But I love that banter. But I think there's a line it shouldn't cross over. Because I'm not into violence at all. I think the minute football becomes that, there's a major problem. So I love the banter, love the all that goes with it. And I think we'll see it on Tuesday night. It's going to be a fantastic game.
Do you have a prediction for us?
Well, Villa are the biggest team. They're the biggest team. They've got Premier League players. They've spent 48 million putting that team together on the pitch.
But here's a quote, and it's one of your favourites. Never underestimate the power of desire
over ability.
There you go.
That came from Don Cherry, the ice hockey coach of the Boston Bruins. And he's a great point. I mean, that was the thing I always used. But he also said, if you have to have one, if it's got to be a choice, go for desire. Because ability without desire is a waste of time. Isn't it?
Yep.
So why do cup upsets happen? Why did Exeter go to Man U and draw 0-0 in the cup?
Desire. That's so. Why did Blues beat Arsenal in the final? Desire. That over my dead body. That will that. Listen, you can't have no ability. So I'm not saying you haven't got ability, but if you're honest, the money Villa have spent, the money Arsenal spent, and the Arsenal players at that time, they had all the ability, didn't they? But you can win games, and you know, never underestimate the power of the fans as well. You know. Yeah. Only 2,800 of them, but
I think
make some noise.
Blues will have to be better than they were against Forest, to be perfectly honest with you, because it was a poor for me. Because I'd seen them against Derby, I'd heard about them against Bristol City. I watched the goals, and I'm thinking, and then you get that. That might be the blessing in disguise for Gary Rowett.
Wake up call.
Just hang on, boys. You're not players.
Yeah.
We've got where we are, and Gary will tell you, we've got where we are. And his phrase, you know, it's football. Your fans use it. Gary says, we know what we are. The players, we know what we are. And the minute you forget that, the minute you stop that team ethic, the work and the commitment and desire, you're going to have a problem. So that might just bring them down to earth a little bit. Be interesting to see how they bounce back against Ipswich, to be fair. But the derby, I spoke to Brad Guzan this morning. Throw that in, but I spoke to Brad Guzan, interviewed Brad Guzan about the derby. You know, and he says players get excited with it as well, you know. Sometimes we think it don't matter to them, but players get excited. And that's the way it should be. If you can't get excited for a derby, there's something wrong with you. They're the greatest games on the planet, the derby, the ding-dong derby. I can't wait.
Yes.
Already Blues have got a game against Ipswich first, and Villa have got a game on Saturday against West Brom. So, but it's that derby thing already. Most Blues fans, all they're talking about is Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
And I get it. People say, yeah, all the professionals will say, hang on, there's a game before. But don't worry about that. But, you know, we've had some great memories in 35 years with Blues. I was privileged to be allowed to travel on the team bus under Jim Smith and Barry Fry, and Trevor Francis let me on occasions. So it was an insight, you know, the Leyland Daf Final. I took the team training for the last training session before they played at Wembley. Nigel Gleghorn and John Gale refused to train. Lou McCarthy said, Tom's taking it. They said, well, we're not training. And Lou said, well, you're going to have to, because he's doing it, end of. So I said, if you're not going to train, 20 press-ups. So I made them do 20 press-ups each. So, and I took the training. So I'm taking all the credit for winning the Leyland Daf, because that extra time, they needed a bit of fitness, and I run them into the ground. For the Leyland Daf Final, I sneaked in with Lou. Lou sneaked me in, and I broadcast from the bench. I sat next to Robert Hopkins, the sub, because Lou had got a tracksuit. I got a bucket with my headphones in, and they put me down as assistant physio, and I did it from the bench. I mean, these are for a fan.
Yeah.
It's like amazing. When Terry Cooper, when I went to Rochdale or Stockport, I can't remember exactly. I got there was no press pass, and I'm going, I don't know what I'm going to do. With press boxes full, Terry Cooper went, no problem, sit next to me. So I sat on the bench on my phone doing the reports. The day Mark Cooper, his son, got sent off, and Mark was. I remember Terry to this guy going, tell him he's a blooming twit. You don't spell twit with an A, dear. Anyway, that's what he said. It was, you know, but these are all great stories of a football fan, because that's what I am.
Yeah. Football
fan getting close to the club. I've been privileged. I started the Blues All-Stars, which was fantastic. With Ian Atkins at first was involved, and we had sort of like a celebrity sort of teamish. But then Kevin Broadus and I decided we were going to have an ex-Blues team in '92, and we're still going strong today. And we've raised over £1 million for local charities. This is the other side of football. So, you know, this is a wonderful, wonderful football club. It's a brilliant football club. Let down badly by the owners. Let down, let's not hide it. They've been let down badly. Not at the start. Because when he came in, we were all jumping for joy, weren't we?
Yep.
Going to spend hundreds of millions of pounds. We were all jumping for joy. We all thought Christmas has come early. Then we've got into the league. We've won the Carling Cup. We're up the table, and we're thinking, wow. You know, did we finish 8th?
9th.
Then 9th?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we've won the Carling Cup. Everybody's buzzing. And then, once his assets were frozen, we were in trouble. Hopefully we're on our way, but it's going to be some time before we get new owners. But things are better.
Yeah.
And what an absolutely amazing thing to appoint Gary Rowett.
Brilliant.
How much has he changed? An ex-pundit of mine, he travelled around the country as a pundit with me, what the job Kevin Broadus does, or did, and John McCarthy did. Gary Rowett did for a season and a half. Tremendous. And I got to know him quite well then, and his
You
thoughts
could tell he
about
had the tactical mind.
Yeah, tactically, because he was coaching England under 17s, I think, at the time. So he was definitely one for the future. But he went and learnt his trade, and he's come into Blues, and let me tell you, I talk to him every week. He absolutely loves it. He loves being at Blues, and he's got his tribe with him, Mark Sale, who, by the way, is the worst Hearts player in the world, on the team bus. Terry Cooper used to hammer him, worst of all. Kevin Summerfield, I knew from Walsall, played for Blues for a while, so I knew Kevin and Paulie. They are Blues at heart as well. They are so determined to bring success. But they're going to need help. Aren't they going to need a bit of help?
Well,
they're going to need help. They can't keep doing it on a shoestring.
we just have to hope we get them enough help before it's too late.
Well, you know, and at the start of the season I was asked, where do you think Blues will finish? And I said, I think if we finish mid-table it'll be a good season for Gary Rowett. We're getting a little bit carried away because we've had a decent start, haven't we? But over the 46 games with the squad, and remember, next year, no emergency loans next year. So you've got to have a strong squad, haven't you?
Yeah.
So we're going to need some finance. It's going to be tough. But, you know, this is, as I've said before, this is a great club. But there's other people, you know. Gary Rowett does a great job in the front of it. But people at the club that have kept this place going, Julia Shelton, Joanne also, Roger, Ian Dutton and the commercial, done a wonderful, wonderful job to keep this club going. I think it needs to be commended for how it survived a very difficult time. But, you know, it's all about memories, isn't it? I was born one and I'll die one. I never had a choice. I wasn't given a choice about...
Talk about how you became a Blues fan.
Well, my dad came down from Scotland and wanted a local football club. He's a Celtic man. Wanted a local football club. He'd got Villa down the road, the big club. Well, he got Birmingham, and Birmingham had Alec Gunplay, Scotsman. So he chose Birmingham. And I'll be grateful to him till the day I die, because he chose Birmingham City. They broke my heart more times than I care to remember. But they've given me some wonderful moments.
Well, that's the thing. With a club like Blues, when something good happens, you remember it and you appreciate it.
And you savour it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. And that Carling Cup day.
And you know what? Arsenal fans thought it was won.
Yeah.
because they've been there a million times.
Yeah.
What a day out for us. I mean, there's stories. My report, I had a pitch side reporter, Adam Bridge, and he went to this guy, and the guy's sitting there on his own, and he goes, just, you know, free radio, just like to speak to you about the, or BRB was it then, 2011?
Yeah, BRB.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He's gone, just like to talk to you about, you know, your day, what you're expecting and everything. And this guy said, well, me and my mate, we can't wait for the kick-off. And my report went, well, is he gone for something to eat then? He went, no, he's here. He got an urn, and his mate had passed away. He said, and I promised him if Blues got the final, I was going to bring him. And he brought his mate's ashes. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
I was so touched. And the moment that Obafemi Martin scored will live in my memory. And also to see Barry Ferguson give Koscielny a little tap on the head,
yeah.
as if to say, thanks, pal. Thanks very much. But you know, as a Blues fan, when it went in, I went mental. And I'm going, come on then, ref, blow the whistle, there's something wrong. Something, you blow it, because that's Blues fans, isn't it? We're going to get a kick in the you-know-what's eventually. And he didn't, and they won the cup, and it was the greatest feeling in the world. I've got to tell you, the greatest feeling in the world to see my team with the first major trophy, 1963, no Wembley, the big clubs weren't in it, wasn't played at Wembley, no European qualification. So this was our first major trophy, and boy, was it great fun. Was it great fun. You know, Europe,
Brilliant.
going to Bruges, round that square, and Slovenia, Maribor, Nacional in Madeira,
Braga.
just absolutely. I never thought that I would come and see Blues in Europe. I remember I'd seen them play Barcelona in the Fair Cities final as a young boy, and I'd seen them play Roma, I'd seen Ucpestosa, I'd seen all the big clubs come to St Andrews in the Fair Cities Cup. But this was proper Europa League. And we should have gone through with 10 points, shouldn't we?
We should have.
To be fair, but didn't.
We should have.
But anyway, but it was just a memory that nobody will take away. And you know what? In true Forrest Gump style, you know, life is a box of chocolates. When you've had one, you want another one. And that's Blues fans. We want some more of it, don't we?
Yeah.
Hang on, let's have some more of it. And before I shuffle off this mortal coil, I want Blues to win the FA Cup. I would die for them to win the FA Cup. Love it. I'm not buying into all this getting the Premier League, because that's all that matters. Sorry, I don't know whether you watch it. There's been some garbage games on the Premier League into this season. Garbage. And yet, Blues Derby, as good a championship game as you'll ever see. End to end, hit the woodwork, 15 shots on target for each. Amazing game. What's wrong with that? Because if, as I believe, every single game on this planet is a unique sporting event. Don't believe all the nonsense, match of the day and all that. Oh, it was like last week. No. This, every time you go to a game, enjoy because it's a unique sporting moment. No two free kicks, no headers, no goals have ever been the same. So it's unique. Enjoy it. That's why the game's the greatest game on the planet.
That's why you go to the games.
And that's why you go. And that's, you know, and to see 2 home games now in 3 days Blues had. Was it 3 days? Yeah. Two in
Saturday,
3 or 4 days.
Tuesday.
Yeah. For goodness sake, to still get 16,000 in a working class city, I think is going some. I think Blues fans, because we've had a lot of disappointments, older than you, Dave. I've had to suffer semi-finals away at Leeds, hammered. A couple of years later, going to Main Road, thinking we're going to get through and losing to Fulham. I had to suffer all that. And then the ignominy of the Weldon days and the Kumar days. At least the Kumar days gave us a Leyland Daf win, which I loved. And the auto windscreen shield. Barry Fry lifted the place. I mean, Barry wasn't a great manager, but what he did was he lifted the gloom and doom.
He was a character.
So there's so many stories about being a Blues fan, and I think every Blues fan should be proud to be one.
Especially in these days and times where you have a lot of people being glory supporters.
Yeah.
Man U, Chelsea, Arsenal. They'll never experience some of the things we've had.
If there's one thing I hate in football, it's like glory hunting Brummie Manchester United fans.
The worst.
I can't deal with it. Now, sometimes you meet them and they say, I said, why are you Man U? And they go, well, my dad's from Manchester. I say, oh, that's okay, I'm cool with that. But like, well, no, my dad's a Villa fan and I'm a Man U fan. Why? Because they're on telly a lot. It does me head in. I hate seeing young kids in Man United shirts. Yeah. A lot of them, my little grandson, Freddie, he's a Blues fan. but he's also Barcelona, because you know, that Messi thing has grabbed the kid's attention, and he keeps asking me, Grandad, when are Blues playing Barcelona? And I haven't the heart to tell him I don't think it'll be for a bit, if I'm totally honest. I said I'll see what I can do, but but that's the way football is, you know. And follow your heart. In football, follow your heart, and you know, be proud of your team. But I think it's also important that your team are proud of you as a supporter. First song I ever learned, Keep Right On, and then I had the privilege on stage of singing it with Alec Govan, for goodness sake, Alec Govan. And there's my dad was he came because of Alec Govan, and when I introduced Alec to him one day at Blues, my dad was in the paddock, and from that day to the day my dad died, Alec sent him a Christmas card every year. My dad was in heaven. Alec Govan was sending him a Christmas card. That's football. Wouldn't happen today, would it? With all due respect to the players today.
Different world today, isn't it?
You know, and the Blues did the 140th anniversary dinner, and I hosted it with Jasper, and I've got to say, 1,100 people. Other clubs can't do that in this town. Forget what league they're in, how big they are, they cannot get 1,100 people. And they've tried to fill the ICC and cannot do it. Blues have got a lot to be proud of. A lot to be proud of, you know, and our history's been checkered, to say the least. But, you know, that's part of the tapestry of life, isn't it? Nobody's gone through life. You've gone through your life without ups and downs. Football's no different, ups and downs. And I think that's like the problem when you have too much success, as Manchester United fans are showing, they can't deal with it.
Yeah.
When they finish third or fourth, they can't deal with it.
It's a disaster.
It's a disaster. Oh, for a disaster like that for Blues.
Yeah.
Hey, we finished fourth in the Premier League. Happy days. But this is the difference. But I think, you know, Blues fans know what they are, know what their club is, and they're as loyal as anybody. You know, people say, oh, you're biased because you're Blues, but I genuinely believe they're as loyal as any, because they've had some. I spoke to Steve Bruce, always asked me to go into his office for a drink, and I went in one day and Alex Ferguson was there, and he didn't know I was a journalist, because I'm sure he'd just shut up, but he was very humorous and very friendly, and he said, talking to Steve and me about, he went, this is one of the most hostile places to come in the world. He said, and I've been to Galatasaray. So I thought that was a compliment to Blues fans.
Oh, yeah.
They make the atmosphere hostile for the opposition. I love it. West Ham found out in the semi-final.
Oh, yeah.
3-1 up, and they thought they'd done it.
Yeah.
3-1 up, and don't underestimate the part the crowd played in that.
Definitely.
Because it was amazing, you know. And I mean, that moment when Craig scored, I can't tell you. It's just truly amazing. But you savour them moments.
Oh yeah.
But if you had that every other year, would it be the same? I don't think it'd be the same.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
So we savour those moments, don't we?
That's why we're Blues.
That's why. Listen, it's not a punishment. You're chosen. I think you're chosen to be a Blues fan, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, my dad, I could have changed. I could have done this. I would never, because I think it's about tradition, family history, all those things that that matter. And every time I go down, I think about my dad, because he'd have been on the paddock with Dad. You know, even now, he'd have been over 100, but he'd have been there somehow. You know, and he went every time he went. You know, sitting. He never went much away, but always at St Andrews, always cheering the team on. Had a season ticket and did his bit. My mum would come to some games. They took me nephews and stuff. Big Blues, big part of our lives. You know, and I'm just trying to think what my life would be like without football in it and without Blues in my life. It would have changed it totally. I meet people and I say, who do you support? And they go, I don't like football. I go, yeah, all right, thanks, cheerio. I don't know what to say. But the derby this week, Villa should win it. They should, because they're a Premier League team, they're at home and all the rest of it. But listen, I wouldn't back against these boys if they get at it. Because derbies are levellers, you know. And Villa won't take it lightly. Villa won't be taking it lightly. So, because they've had major upsets recently, haven't they?
Yeah.
Bradford semi-final.
Yeah.
So they'll be at it. Tim Sherwood knows he needs a result.
It's a cup final for them as well.
For both teams, because this is our Midlands Cup final. You're spot on. This is a Midlands Cup final, and I'm already excited. I won't sleep. I can't wait. I can't wait to get to the ground. And I always get 3 hours early before the kick-off, savour the atmosphere, walk down to the pitch side and everything. I love it. Absolutely love it. And don't forget, buy the book when it's out.
Talk to me about the book.
It's, well, for 5, 6, 7 or 8 years now I've been asked to do it by Breeden Publishing and all sorts of people asking me to do it. And I've always turned it down because because I know I'm an opinionated what's it on the radio, but I'm in real life I'm not that confident about things. I really want to read that. But then, as I got older, and I'm thinking, I'd like my family to know exactly what I did. And I had a call about, would I do it? And I went, yeah, okay, maybe the time's right. And it's been therapeutic doing it. It's been absolutely amazing doing
Plenty
it.
of blue stories in
Loads of blue stories. As a little taster, I remember John Bond calling me and said, I'm doing something, come down. So I went down, come in the office, and I walked into the office. Howard Kendall's there, the Everton manager, and Wayne Clark, Stuart Storer, 2 Blues players, one a goal scorer of high repute, the other played 5 games, mainly a reserve, and Ken Weldon. And I got all right. He said, we're doing this business, so if you'd like to interview John and Howard, I said, that's strange, it's never happened before. Anyway, the deal is, and I think it was £400,000 for the pair, of which Stuart Storer was £300,000 or £350,000 and Wayne Clark was £50,000. Now I think, hang on, he's played 93 games, scored 30 goals, and Stuart Storer's a reserve. There's something not iffy. Anyway, I did it and did the interviews and went back, and then found out later that Blues had got to give Wolves half of anything they sold Wayne Clark for. So they did a deal. Ken Weldon, who was brilliant at that, did a deal to sell him and for 50,000. So they had to give Wolves half of 50. Brilliant. Ken was, I don't know how he did it, but he had every scam in the book, Ken. But they were the sort of things that I've experienced as a Blues fan. And very often, you know, you get, and this is what sometimes fans don't understand, I can get called into a chairman's office for Villa, Blues, Wolves, West Brom, and they go, listen, this is the situation, A, B, C and D, that's the situation. Off the record, A, B, C and D, this is what's happening. So I know, but I can't say, because it's off the record. So I then say on the air, listen, I'm telling you, that's the case. And fans say, well, how do you know? And that you haven't got a clue. And I go, I can't say where I've got it from, but it's kosher. But the book will cover that. It covers a young snotty-nosed kid from the slums. I mean, you're smartly dressed, for goodness sake, but from the slums of inner city Birmingham.
Off Summer Lane, was it?
Yeah, the salubrious, to the back of 437 New John Street West. Off Summer Lane, which is a massive villa area, by the way. Aston Hockley border. And I went to school at St Chad's. There was 2 of us, Cornelius Walsh, Connie Walsh and me, and the rest were Villa. We got beat up regular, by the way. But you know, that was my upbringing, from having no electricity, cold water. There was 8 of us and a bedroom in an attic, and you know, that's a tin bath in front of the fire. That's how we lived, and no benefits and tax credits and all the other things that went on. So it's really a story of a little bit of that, ending up doing the job that anybody would die for in my own town, my own radio station, broadcasting football to Brummies. What more could anybody on this planet want? I've had opportunities to go to London and stuff, never taken them, because this is where I am. I'm a Brummie. This is where I am. I love it.
Wouldn't change it for the world?
Never. I'm telling you, not a chance. Not a chance would I change it. You know, and recently Free Radio stopped doing live commentaries, which was a blow, because we've been very, very successful. That's in the book as well, with all the figures and everything, so it's been very successful. As soon as the news came out, I had a phone call from TalkSport, could I go and see them, so I went to see them in London, and I'm doing games for them now, and hopefully, maybe, who knows what will happen in the future, but I'm doing games, so I'm doing Blues Villa for them on the Tuesday night, with, as I say, with me and Mr Collymore. That'll be fun. Stan, you haven't heard nothing yet. So if he starts all that nonsense, he'll get plenty back.
About time.
Yeah, about plenty back. So that's the story, you know, and it's autobiographical, but, you know, as well, David Gold and Jasper Carrott have done the foreword, but lots of people that I've known, because I've tried my hand at everything. You know, I did the Blue Nose Brothers with the Andanta.
Sold a lot of copies.
We did. Well, there's a story in itself. I'm reading the book to you now, but you know, when we did the Singing the Blues, which was very, very popular, Karen Brady didn't want it all to be sold through HMV.
She wanted a
club shop, make more money, which was a blow, because in the club shop, we would have been in the charts.
Yeah,
With
top
that,
10.
with that amount. But the interesting thing I found was that I went into HMV, and there we are. You know, our own little section, Blue Nose Brothers with all the CDs in. But more importantly, they had a stand. You'll have seen it if you've been in there, and it's today's bestsellers. Only today. They change it every day. Today's bestsellers. Number 1, the Blue Nose Brothers. 2, Michael Jackson. How about that? How about that for a memory? But no mobile phones, though, because you couldn't even take a flipping picture. So I didn't. So, but you know, but those are the sort of things, the stories, and it's been just absolutely amazing. So I did that. I was on stage. You've heard of Mrs. Brown's Boys. I played the plumber in Mrs. Brown. Good Morning, Mrs. Brown at the Alex Theatre with my friend Brendan O'Carroll. So I've tried my hand. I've not been any good at anything, but I've tried my hand at everything, if that makes sense. Because I believe in challenging yourself. You know.
You interviewed Robbie Williams at a Blues game?
Yeah, well, that was amazing because he'd gone missing from Take That. Robbie Williams went missing from Take That. Was absolutely amazing. And everybody, the world was looking for him. The Western world, the pop world, were looking for him. Well, I'm sitting at Blues. Liverpool was a friendly. Oh, that's bloody Robbie Williams there. I'm sure it is. Anyway, after the game, I've gone down to found him in the D Club, as it was called then. Now the number 8 club or something. Yeah. Went down to the D Club. He's there. I thought, oh, in for a penny, in for a pound. So I go up and go, excuse me, can I have a quick word with you about the game? And, you know, and whatever. He went, yeah, of course. He was with his mate, Razor Ruddock, who played for Liverpool, didn't he? Of course. Yeah, he said, no problem. So I went into a corner, chatted away. And he was talking about, yeah, I've had to get away from Take That because you know, I feared for my life, the fans. It was like mental. But it was in context. It was a fabulous little story from him. And I thanked him and went, obviously part of Capital Radio, gave it to London. They ran it on, the whole thing on their breakfast news. So all of a sudden overnight from Tom Ross BRMB Radio, it was Tom Ross Capital Radio. That was the first thing. But they played it on Channel 4, TV, and da-da. And I was in centre page of Smash Hits. This old fart, centre page Smash Hits. And all the BRMB DJs were raging because they all wanted that. Yeah. And this, but it was one of them chance moments that you get. But I have to say, the national press let you down, and I found that early on there because they were sensationalising bits of it. So through the Press Gazette, I corrected that and, you know, made it sure, because no wonder people don't talk to you and don't trust you. Well, they've got like their sensational about, I feared for my life, I was going to be knifed. Now, out of context, do you know what I'm saying? It needed to listen to the piece, but it certainly did me no harm, and my daughter was really proud of my dad being in centre page of Smash Hits. I must be the oldest man ever to do it. I've still got a copy of it here, to be fair, which was quite amazing. And so all those sort of things are in the book, just little.
Do we have a release date for the book?
Yeah, well, it's just been proofread now, and bits to be photographs to be chosen and stuff like that, and it's going in. I think they'll be out for Christmas. You know, I know the cover's already done and all that sort of stuff. So it's called The Game's Gone.
That's classic.
And that will be on my tombstone. The game's gone,
yeah.
And now I have. So that's the way it'll be. So there you go.
Brilliant, Tom.
No worries, pal. It's a pleasure. Love it.
Perfect.